A lot of our community probably had their awakening before 2020, or maybe there's a lot that have started their awakening in 2020. What would be your advice then as someone that woke up at a very young age and had a lot of anger and frustration, which I think a lot of people have, and fear around the awakening, where you're like, whoa, none of this is real. All of this is detrimental to my health. And where do I go? What do I do? So what would be your advice for them during this awakening process when they're realizing that a lot of this is an illusion?
Well, a lot of people are in pain, right?
Yeah.
So you want to take that pain and transfer it to purpose, right? And that's easier said than done. But usually you can derive your greatest gifts from your shadows.
Yes.
And that's a holographic gene key perspective. Also, Carl Jung perspective as well is that within your darkest, deepest recesses of your turmoil and your trauma is where the crown jewel of your life is. And ultimately, we can talk about, the way Wayne Dyer says it in his Tao Te Ching reflection is that there's really no destination. It's just there's a way, and there's a way of like letting go of nothing and making it so serious and making it about something. And I think that if you can get to a position where you can be honest with yourself, like truly be honest, and there's ways of getting to that. I mean, you might go and blow your head off with ayahuasca in the jungles for a month, or you might go through some deep transcendental meditation work or qigong or a deep cellular detox. A lot of people, I believe we store trauma in toxic areas in our body that become fibrotic because nothing's moving there. It's stagnated. However you want to do it, and I'm not saying there's one particular way, but there are ways. You got to get there because every day, every cycle, every moon cycle, and all of that you don't take care of that, you're creating a lopsided balance in your life. We only have a finite amount of time in these bodies, right? Like our time incarnated in this avatar is a drop of time in the ocean of life. Like I just butchered Rumi's quote. Let me see. Okay. It's a drop of time. No, it's a drop in the ocean of time.
Yeah.
I knew it. I only know it in Farsi, the true way.
Will you say in Farsi?
I have no idea how to say that in Farsi. Hold on. Let me attempt. Yedone, yeah. Okay, no. All the Persians are going to come after me. I'll come back with it though.
Our Persian audience is strong.
I'll send it. I'll record the audio and send it to you, and then you could just
drop it in.
There.
Perfect.
Okay. Which word magic is full on.
Oh, full on.
I want to talk about that too.
So we got to get into our trauma and get real with it, and it's not getting really tight mentally with what the trauma is. It was this. It was like, where do you feel it? Like we got to start feeling ourselves on an overall level. Outside of the monkey mind. The monkey mind is like constantly talking to you. It's like just won't shut up. You're like, you can't stop looking in the mirror before you go out, right? You got to fix everything. That's the monkey mind, just like, oh, it's not perfect. All of these things are contributing to time lost, energy being put somewhere else. I think we're at a point now in our world I think about how many people are in the world right now. You take all that people, how many of them are living in their dharma, like what their soul carnated here to do? And if you think, more than, 10% of the people in the world are living in that, we're probably less, and that's why I feel like we're in a lot of the perils that we're in right now, where we have systems that are literally imploding upon implosions. Like it's like every system that we're dealing with here in this country, for example, from our financial system to our medical system to our education system, every system is falling apart. We're trillions of dollars of fiat money in debt, and our entire involution as a species is devolving. I've said it before. I believe we've forgotten what we've forgotten, and children are now adults, and their parents were children, and their parents were children, and their parents were children for at least 10, 12 generations now. And what do you have when that you have trauma that's just passed on? People aren't doing the work. We've lost discipline, and we're just looking to just buy time so we don't have to feel the pain. And you're seeing that in the foods we're eating. We're seeing that in the entertainment. You're seeing that in the escapism behavior, whether that's, egoic drugs, whether that's alcohol consumption at levels that make absolutely no sense in terms of alchemy of the body, when it comes to all the things that get us out of the present. Time seems to speed up as we get older. You know that, you've heard that cliche. It's because we're caught up in the same traumatic loops nonstop. And that's not even mentioning the whole calendar system that we're on. And so, okay, so my long story short, get so real with your life, get real with who you are. How are you showing up for people? We're always talking about, you got to get rid of people that are vampiric, that are sucking you dry, that are draining you. Well, why don't we not do that? Why don't we ask ourselves, are we doing that to anyone? Right? Like,
we allow
my favorite thing.
Ownership. Yeah. If everyone was like getting into their
everyone's
own
like
ownership.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, how
do you do anything with boundaries?
Yeah.
You don't do anything. Just find that the evolution of self that will end the suffering of so many. And then from there, total detoxification, mind, body, soul. Like,
what
serious.
does that look like?
Yeah.
Well, that looks like, instead of worrying about, okay, what else do I need? What do I have in my lifestyle that's bringing me down? Like, what's my everyday look like? No matter what, we all do kind of the same thing every single day. We eat the same foods, we drink the same waters, we talk to the same people, we drive the same places, we get out of bed the same way, we make love the same way, we have the same community. It's like, okay, are those working? Are they creating patterns of development? Are you having patterns that are robbing you of vital force, robbing you of, getting to somewhere that you want to achieve? Are you constantly in a struggle with poverty conscious, for example? Are you in this scarcity mentality that you don't deserve to have X, Y, Z? You don't deserve to have people respect you. You don't deserve to have growth in your life. Are we struggling with, the emotional state of constantly looking for pain? A lot of us, that's our safety, is to be in pain. That's why we choose codependent partners. That's why we choose partners that abuse us. That's why we choose relationships that are, always predicated on turmoil. It's almost become like a thing now. I mean, you see it all over social media. You see it on TV. You see it in these shows. The whole thing is based on cheating, lying, and stealing. It's a drug. It's a dopamine hit. And we're using that. We're like mainlining that stuff into our body all the time. All that stuff is causing serious, drastic destruction at the cellular level. We know it's unraveling DNA. We know it's causing oxidative stress. You could drink all the spring water you want. You could be on all the Cymbiotika products you want. You could be fasting 19 hours a day, having one small window. But if you're living in that kind of frequency, forget about it. You're rapidly going into the disease span. You're rapidly causing an epigenetic switch to turn on hundreds, if not thousands, of biomarkers that will activate disease. And this is a known fact, and so review and analyze your everyday.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.